Hello, everybody. Welcome to our winter product briefing. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're just going to let some folks trickle in. Alrighty, we're going to get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our winter product briefing. For those of you who I have not had the chance to meet, my name is Maggie, and I lead customer marketing here at Keyfactor. So we have a lot of exciting updates to share today across our product portfolio. Our product management team is ready to go. So without further ado, let's dive in. So here's our game plan for the day. I am going to be kicking things off with a quick overview of our product suite and then sharing some upcoming events that we have for our insiders. And then from there, our product team is going to dig into our roadmap content and our updates across our product portfolio. So this will include more details around our recent ServiceNow integrations, updates to cryptographic posture management, to EJBCA, our PKI platform, code signing updates, and then we will wrap things up with certificate lifecycle management, taking a look at command, and then sharing some innovation around agentic AI as well. So let's get into it. To level set here, I'm going to provide an overview of our solutions, and I'd like to do that by thinking about the current state of PKI. Believe it or not, we are approaching the end of the year, end of 2025, and to me, that means two things. One, the holidays are here, which is very exciting, and two, it's planning season. So in that spirit, I'm going to spend a minute discussing the disruption that we're seeing in the PKI space as we head into 2026 and what to keep top of mind as you start planning for next year. So, what am I referring to? As we look to next year, there is a perfect storm brewing, and this is made up of four major industry disruptions that are converging and they're reshaping digital trust. The first is AI. It is no surprise that AI is scaling extremely rapidly. And one way that it's impacting PKI is that it's fueling the increase in digital identities in the form of AI agents. And so these agents, just like any other identity, they need to be authenticated for secure communication. So this means more certificates issued more frequently in more environments than ever before. At the same time, we're seeing certificate lifespans start to shrink. So as we all know, the CAB Forum is mandating 47-day TLS certificates by 2029. So what that means is that your most critical certificates will go from an annual renewal to a monthly renewal and a monthly fire drill. So this is not just an inconvenience, it's a real operational strain that PKI teams will need to manage, and it's a business level issue that needs to be managed as well. Next up are regulatory changes. So auditors are definitely starting to pay more attention, and they're introducing new regulations and mandates around PKI and cryptography that we need to stay on top of as an industry. And then last but certainly not least is the big one, quantum. Quantum computing is going to represent one of the biggest shakeups that we will see in cyber in the 21st century, and it is not a distant problem. The risk is already here. So thinking about planning ahead, thinking about that quantum safe migration, it's a multi-year process, and the need to get started is more pressing than ever. So it is safe to say that as we head into 2026, PKI teams are facing a lot. And this is where Keyfactor is here to support you. We are proud to be the leader in helping you manage digital trust by offering you end-to-end solutions that help you on your journey to quantum readiness, to leveraging automation, and to achieving crypto agility. And so this journey starts with visibility because we cannot protect what we can't see or what we don't even know is there. So our cryptographic posture management solutions help you gain visibility into your full suite of cryptographic assets beyond certificates, and they help you uncover vulnerabilities that put your business at risk. We also support you in modernizing your infrastructure with best-of-breed PKI and signing solutions, which are critical in helping you scale your operations and establish digital trust. And then last but not least, you need to be able to manage and automate the lifecycle of your certificates. And that is made possible by our solution, Keyfactor Command. So as our product team digs into roadmap throughout the next hour, you're going to see how Keyfactor is continuing to innovate and help you not only stay on top of these disruptions and these shifts, but to stay ahead of them as we head into 2026. So before we dig into updates, I'm just going to provide a few quick updates on events and webinars that we have coming up at the end of the year. So in case you missed it, we released our autumn product update last month. And this is chock full of updates across the Keyfactor platform, including Command, signing, our customer portal. So if you haven't checked out our demo videos, checked out this landing page, strongly recommend that you do. It should be in the chat for you to check out. And you can expect our next product update in December. Next up is our Insider program. So the Insider program is the best way to stay up to date on all things Keyfactor. That includes our product updates, exclusive events, and it also is where you can actually get premium access to Keyfactor University if you join. So this is free to join, free to get those additional training. So strongly recommend if you are a customer of ours to join our Insider program. Again, we'll have the registration in the chat there. We have several webinars coming up that anyone can join. So next Tuesday, we'll be hosting a webinar on automation, thinking about preparing for the future of PKI. Again, thinking about those 47-day mandates. How can you introduce automation to help improve your operations, upscale your operations? We also host quarterly workshops on EJBCA and Command. So if you use these solutions or if you're interested in learning more about them, definitely join our final 2 workshops. What we do in these is we have technical experts who join and they dig into different areas of these solutions. So if you use it, you'll learn new tips and tricks. And if you don't, you'll get a great overview of kind of the art of possible with both of these solutions. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to pull up a poll question here. We are headed to Gartner IAM in Grapevine, Texas in just a few weeks. And we have a lot of really exciting things planned. We're hosting a customer event. We have a session. We'll have a booth. So if you're attending, we would love to know. Please fill this out and we'll follow up with more details and see if maybe we can see you there. All right, that is everything for me. I am going to pass it over to Ryan, and he's going to talk about ServiceNow.
Thank you, Maggie. Hey, everyone. What's going on? My name's Ryan. I lead product and customer marketing at Keyfactor. And today, I'm excited to share 3 exciting new integrations with ServiceNow that we introduced just 2 weeks ago, so relatively new. And already, we've seen a lot of interest and downloads of these integrations since launch. So what I'll do is I'll walk through each one, what they mean for our customers and our end users. And of course, we'll share some resources in the chat for you to learn more and to even get started. So first up, we're excited to introduce the Command ServiceNow app. So this is available today in the ServiceNow store. And what it allows you to do is integrate certificate workflows between Keyfactor Command and ServiceNow. So rather than having to log into the Command interface, your application owners can go directly into ServiceNow to request, to renew, and to even revoke certificates using the IT workflows that they're familiar with. And Keyfactor Command is going to action those workflows behind the scenes. So whether those certificates are issued from a private, a public, or a cloud-based CA, you can manage all of those using Command and integrate that with ServiceNow. And you can also even set expiration alerts in Command and have that trigger instance in ServiceNow and then route those alerts to the appropriate user. So, not only can you streamline certificate workflows, I see some thumbs up there, people are excited about that, but you can also ensure that alerts reach the right person at the right time because, as Maggie mentioned, certificate renewals are happening more frequently and outages are likely to happen if we don't stay ahead of those. So this is a critical component of that. And historically, as many of you know, if you wanted to integrate with ServiceNow, you'd leverage a custom REST-based API. It worked, but it required some time and some help to implement. So now with the Command app, we make that process much simpler, much more turnkey, and more importantly, it's free to download. So as long as you have the right licensing in ServiceNow, you can actually start using that today. So you can check out the link there and go straight to the ServiceNow store and find that there. Next up, as you can see, we have the EJBCA Acme integration. So this integration was actually built by the ServiceNow team. And what it allows you to do is route certificate requests, renewals, and revocations from ServiceNow to the EJBCA PKI platform using the Acme protocol. So similar to the command integration, rather than having to access the EJBCA registration authority, the interface there for self-service enrollment, application owners can just submit those requests directly in ServiceNow. And this is available as a part of their recent Zurich release. And you can find documentation to set up that integration right on ServiceNow's website as well. And then lastly, but not least, is our new cryptographic discovery and inventory solution. Many of you have probably heard of this, AgileSec. And this solution integrates with the ServiceNow vulnerability response module. So just for some background for any of you who are not familiar with AgileSec, it's the solution that we introduced in our portfolio through the acquisition of InfoSec Global earlier this year. And AgileSec, which Julien is going to dig deeper into in the next segment, it's really a powerful solution. It helps you search through everything from source code, cloud services, web servers, and even file systems to discover all of your cryptographic assets, not just certificates, but also things like keys, tokens, protocols, algorithms, and even cryptographic libraries. And then it brings those all into a single centralized inventory. So now what this integration allows you to do is continuously synchronize that inventory so that you can get full visibility of all your cryptographic assets, and you can identify vulnerabilities within them right from within the ServiceNow platform. And then you can also escalate those vulnerabilities right to the teams that need to handle them, and then keep track of those to make sure that remediation is actioned upon. So this is all about closing the gap between discovery and resolution, not only for vulnerabilities that exist in your environment today, things like maybe hard-coded keys, weak algorithms, outdated protocols, but also things that we need to start thinking about, like the transition to quantum safe standards ahead, and workflows are going to be required to make that happen. So the combination of discovery and inventory and remediation through this ticket-based system really make that easy. And that's really kind of the power of the combination of those two solutions as well. So that's it for me today. As I said, if you want to learn more about any of these integrations, you can check out the ServiceNow store listings or our announcement page. And of course, we're here to answer any questions that you have in the chat. So I'll jump over to the chat now. And with that, I'll pass that over to you, Julien.
Thank you very much. So pleasure to meet everyone. So Julien, leading product at InfoSec Global, now part of Keyfactor. And I will go in more detail about this AgileSec platform and what it does. So next slide, please. As you understood from Ryan, so what we do is about collecting cryptographic information from your infrastructure. So we can get data from your host, your network infrastructure, your application, source code, IoT system, identities, PKI, CLM, and all. So really the goal is to collect all of this information, cryptographic algorithm, cipher, protocol, keys, certificate and everything, right? And then we centralize those, then we can run policies, we can assess what is compliant, we can assess what is maybe vulnerable, what is not compliant, and what's definitely also not quantum safe for planning migration. And what's super important for us also is about ecosystem integration. So when we designed the product is to be super flexible and be able to integrate with technologies that you are using today. Everything about endpoint detection response, about ServiceNow, as we saw before, about certificate lifecycle management system, key management system, PKI. So all of those integrations are super important for us as well. So now we are launching this v3.4 in winter. And what we've been doing is combining the power of v3 with what we had before for the legacy v2 that we were running before with customer. And now this v3.4 can be deployed on-prem with virtual machine that you can control. And it can also be deployed with cloud native environment like Kubernetes support. And you can run that into your private cloud or also on public cloud as well. And it provides all the multi-tenancy, organization management, security, and all the scalability capabilities as well. Next is about a new UI we introduce. As I said before, the technology is super flexible, but one of the issues we had before with V2 is about how simple it is to control integration. And now all of those integration can be done directly from the UI. So organization can go, they can configure Azure Key Vault, they can configure Artifactory, they can configure Qualys integration. So all of those orchestration, configuration now can be done in the UI and no longer in just configuration file. So much more easy and much faster. Next is about the data review. We have very advanced dashboard that can, organization can create very specific view for the compliance team, for the security team, for the IT team. So you can really create specific visualization that will fit specific requirements. It's super flexible. But now we introduce also this new single visualization dashboard that will give you quickly information about the cryptographic bill of materials. What do you have? What is the vulnerabilities? What are the compliance? What's the trends? How fast you're introducing post-quantum to infrastructure? So something much more easy also to review the data that the sensor collect into the organization. Next is about something, as I said before, we said we like to integrate with infrastructure. And always when we go to organization, they're using a massive amount of different technologies. And what we've created is a unified sensor. And this unified sensor is super helpful because it combines, classical common code that will parse component, parse keys, parse certificate, scan network, scan binary, scan source code. And then we can easily add any source on top of it. So we can create a data source for a specific API. We can create a data source for scanning specific system. So now it's much more faster for anyone really to create any sensor and reuse all the common components that we have created as part of this unified sensor as well. Next, we use it, this unified sensor, to create the integration with Cypher Insight. Cypher Insight is also new to Keyfactor. It's about network monitoring. The key goal of Cypher Insight is to monitor the network and detect what key exchange, what protocol are agreed between client and server communication, right? So we are really monitoring the infrastructure. We are collecting all protocol information, all certificate information. And now with this unified sensor, we can centralize the information from Cypher Insight directly in Agile Analytics to do advanced dashboard, data review, data analysis, and compliance check as well, and quantum migration as well. Next one is about also post-quantum. As we said at the beginning, post-quantum is important. There is new standard, they exist. People are deploying this into organization, right? And we have added support for post-quantum detection. So it's also super important because now if your team introduce, just a TLS network interface with post-quantum, obviously it's going to be supported. But now if they use the post-quantum certificate, post-quantum keys, also we are going to detect those in source code. We are going to detect those into binaries or even in the file system. Or if you have root CAs that are post-quantum ready, we are also going to detect those and report those into the infrastructure and the Agile Analytics solution as well. And the last one, I don't know if you are aware of that, but there is also interoperability initiatives about cryptographic bill of material, which is an extension of this software bill of material. And the goal is to define a standard that will enable system to communicate. For example, you would be able to create a CBOM, like this cryptographic bill of material of your own application or from third-party source. And then we will be able to ingest this CBOM into our own system. Or from our system, we'd be able also to generate a CBOM for a particular application that you've scanned, or generate a CBOM for your particular infrastructure or network device. And now this new CBOM format is going to be important for interoperability between CycloneDX, Agile Analytics, IBM, and different parties as well. So I'm good with my part, and I guess now I can give it to Mats for the next piece. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Julien. All right, Mats, take it away.
Thank you, Maggie. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Mats Rosberg. I'm the product manager of EGVCA at Keyfactor. So let's talk a little bit about EGVCA and the latest parts there. So I think a lot of you guys already know EGVCA is a scalable, quantum-ready PKI platform that can run anywhere and meets virtually any use case. It is the foundation of trust, whether you issue thousands of certificates or billions. Our latest version of EGVCA 9.4 will be available on all deployment types in December. So let me walk you through some of the highlights of this release. We talked about quantum readiness, and so on, and EGVCA is quantum ready, as I mentioned already. But we also need to be able to work together with the HSMs that will, host the keys and also be using quantum safe keys. So we have extended our list of supported post-quantum readiness HSMs. And as you can see in this list, and obviously we're continuously monitoring this and adding full support for additional HSMs to be quantum safe. Another part that we're introducing during 9.4 here is an official vulnerability management policy to support our customers to be able to be compliant to local regulations and supply chain security risk and so on. We've introduced a new policy and a more automated way of identifying vulnerabilities and CVEs. So with every build and release that we release, we will provide a software bill of material for all our third-party components. We regularly automatically scan for newer CVEs and analyze those and to rectify them in a timely manner. Next slide, please. Another part, and I see there's coming up a question about HSMs in FIPS 140-3, very timely, of course. In our SCEP support, in previous versions or current versions, SCEP would use a single key to both sign and encrypt and decrypt the SCEP payload. This is no longer supported or allowed when you're running towards an HSM that is in FIPS 140-3 mode. So for this reason, we have enhanced our functionality, and you can now configure separate key pairs for encrypting and signing the SCEP payload so that our customers can stay compliant using FIPS 140-3 HSMs as well. And that was a pretty quick run through. I think that was just a little highlight of the things coming in, and I'll hand it over to Lutz to talk about the hardware appliance.
Yeah, thank you, Mats. So, hey, I'm Lutz. I'm the Senior Product Manager for the hardware appliance and the software appliance here at Keyfactor. Let's have a look at the hardware appliance, which is, if you are not familiar with our products, which is our PKI in a box where you can deploy the GBCA and sign server within your data center without having the need to work with configuration files or do all this HSM lifecycle configuration, because we do all this for you with a nice and convenient to use web UI. And this product has been on the market for more than 11 years, and end of last year we have released the next life cycle of this hardware appliance, which we are proud of, and we call it the next generation hardware appliance. It has a new hardware layout, it has a more compact form factor, it has latest and greatest long-term supported hardware configuration, which will ensure you to have enough computing power for the things that are on the horizon, just mentioned BQ. And we have a new software. And then last but not least, you can choose if it should come with the Ultimaco UTrust PCI card built in or the Thales Luna PCI HSM. So the upcoming appliance release 5.2 will have 3 features I want to highlight. And the first one is that we're going to bring the PQ support for the Thales Luna and the Ultimaco UTrust PCI card. Again, they're built in this PKI in a box solution with a firmware update. So by doing this, you will just do the firmware update of these HSMs, nice and convenience, using the web UI without the need to change the architecture or work with external modules. Second spotlight I want to set here is that we will have support for net-attached HSMs, which means with the next generation hardware appliance, you can use your net-attached HSM in your infrastructure, and we're going to support the Trustway, the TARDIS dport, the Lunar network HSM, the Entrust Enshield, the Securitas, and last but not least, the UTMACO LAN box. Next slide, please. And the third feature spotlight for today is that we're going to support external databases. So with this release, you can configure the next generation hardware appliance to utilize your existing external database which lives in your infrastructure. So we're going to support MariaDB, Oracle database, Postgre, SQL, and Microsoft SQL. And as you know from the hardware appliance, all this configuration and operation will be done using this easy-to-use web UI. These were the three spotlights for the hardware appliance. Now I want to set some spotlights for the software appliance, because the software appliance is your way to go if you want to use EDBC A or Sign Server on your hypervisor with the same value proposition that we have for the hardware appliance. All configuration and operation is done using the web UI, and by this we take all this hurdle and pain of having this super complex software stack away for you. You will do this all with the web UI. So first spotlight for the software appliance release 2.9 is that we're gonna have a one-click backup and restore functionality. So by doing this, we will enable you to manage your PKI lifecycle task directly from the UI. So you don't have the need to have external hypervisor or the M tools required, and this will make you a little bit more independent from having this connection to the hypervisor team and having several rights. This is a really good feature, and we are looking forward to roll it out to the field. On the next slide, we have two more spotlights and highlights, and the first thing is that we're going to bring the PQ support for the net-attached Entrust and Lunar HSMs. You can connect to the software appliance. By doing this, we're going to enable you to build your quantum-ready PKI on your existing HSM infrastructure. And last but not least, the third highlight for the software appliance is that we're going to bring support for USB HSMs, and we're going to start with the Lunar USB HSM, which will enable you to securely connect and operate your USB HSM across the supported hypervisors, which are these XI and KVM based ones, and this is super handy for offline root CA cases. With this being said, thanks for your attention, and I'm gonna hand over to Ben. Ben.
Thanks, Lutz. For those that are new, I'm Ben Dewberry. I'm a product manager at Keyfactor doing Signum and Sign Server, our code signing products. They are designed to let an enterprise centrally manage and control access to keys that are backed by an HSM from being able to sign, code, documents, containers, agentic AI running containers even today. And today we're going to talk about some of the new updates and features we have for you. So first off, long-awaited requests. So we've had a Windows agent for Signum, we've had a Linux agent for Signum, and now we have a Mac OS agent for Signum. And what this allows you to do is be able to interact with the native Apple keychain on those systems and be able to sign, Mac OS applications, iOS applications, iPad applications, just like you would with doing something with SignTool or with Jar Signer on another platform. And those keys can all stay centrally managed by Signum or Sign Server. And this agent in particular has a trick up its sleeve in that I can talk to both a Signum and a Sign Server backend. So you're able to configure it. And what this means is that not only do all Signum customers get this capability, but all Sign Server Enterprise customers as well can take advantage of this new agent and configure it to their Sign Server deployment, and you'll be able to sign using Apple's native code sign and product sign tools. Diving in a little bit more to that hybrid agent design, as we have re-architected our Linux agent to bring the same utility across the Linux and the Mac OS agent. And in the future, we're going to be bringing that same utility over to the Windows agent. And what we're doing is adding this hybrid capability for the Signum agent so that they can communicate with Signum and Sign Server both directly. And again, this just gives Sign Server enterprise customers another option to be able to sign code in the environment. So instead of maybe having to configure a specific worker in Sign Server, you could use, Jar Signer or OpenSSL natively on one of those platforms instead. If you're in a large organization, a big enterprise, I see a lot of different development teams. They've got GitHub Action pipelines, Jenkins pipelines, people doing stuff on-prem, the whole gamut of different use cases, and having all of these options come into the product just gives a lot of flexibility in how things can be deployed. In this version of the Linux agent with support for Sign Server is coming out in the 4.7 release of Signum, which is due out towards the end of this year. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight this actually came in Sign Server 7.4 that just got released back in October, and it's coming also, as part of our milestone release coming in December. But we've added OAuth support in for Sign Server to the admin web. So in the past, you were only able to access the admin web of Sign Server using a certificate, which means you needed to have a PKI ready to go to issue those client auth certificates to be able to get into the admin web. And with this release, you're able to configure an identity provider. Today, we are supporting Auth0, but we're going to add more as we go throughout next year. And you'll be able to configure that to be able to access Sign Server. So you can have the same identity provider configured for eJVCA as for Sign Server, as for Command, as for Signum, and kind of centralizing the access to all these different platforms. So yeah, I think that was all I had. And I'm going to pass it over to Mark.
Alrighty.
All right.
Yep, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk today about Command Certificate Lifecycle platform. So this is the Command Certificate Lifecycle Automation, managed certificates at scale. We can deploy Command either fully on-prem, in the cloud. Our SaaS solution can work with on-prem PKI, or also we deliver it as a fully managed PKI as a service solution, where we host both the certificate lifecycle management and the eJVCA for PKI parts of it. So some recent updates with Command. We actually recapping what we released in Q3 is Command SaaS. So Command went through a complete makeover to become fully containerized at the end of last year. We have completely revamped our Command SaaS offering. It's been renamed for those of you that are look at it, know it as CLA as a service. We've just renamed it as Command SaaS, but taking advantage of the container infrastructure, we can now deploy command in minutes, as opposed to what it would take, several days to get deployed before. But along with that, the Command SaaS deployments get a self-service portal that allows users to do a number of things, to set whitelisting, IP whitelisting, IDP setup, view backend server logs for debugging of component setup, buttons for downloading orchestrators that are configured to talk back to the portal. So this is something we're pretty excited about. And the customer portal that I mentioned for Command SaaS, there's 2 upcoming announcements that'll be, in Q4. We will be releasing the PKI as a service version of this, and then coming early next year will be a customer portal for all our deployment types, including on-prem. So this will be a revamped way to download all of the updates, especially like, say, for example, you're an EGBCA appliance user. You would be able to go to the customer portal and have some of the same user experience that our SaaS customers do, as well as be able to look at your entitlements and get the appropriate downloads for you. So exciting updates for that. Look forward to providing some continued updates on this initiative as we progress into next year. In our upcoming release for 25.4, inside Command, we will be able to edit EGBCA and entity profiles. So been something we have wanted to look at and bring into Command for quite a while. And this allows customers to do configuration of if they're a dual licensee, or if they're a PKI as a service customer using EGBCA in the back end, they can get more access and configurability to the EGBCA portions of it. The other thing that you may have noticed is that some user interface improvements, most notably left side nav bar, and to offer easier and faster navigation. And also, you'll notice when you get into the application itself, all the grid controls, the dialog boxes have an updated look and feel to them. And this is actually part of a larger initiative across the entire product suite to improve our user experience, both in terms of things like I was talking about with the self-service portal, as well as inside the applications with improvements to user experience UI. And then, giving a teaser, what's coming in 2026 will be a completely revamped user interface for Command and some of the other platform components. New feature in 25.4 as well is with the advent of 47-day certs coming at us in the 2029 timeframe, is the ability to create collections and do certificate searches based on lifespan. And so you can use this, of course, to create a collection based on certs that are going to be, expiring in 47 days or not expiring in 47 days. And then also just reminder of some of the functionality we've built into previous versions. Once certificates are in a collection, workflow can be fired off based on certificates entering or leaving those collections. And you can take advantage of that, the combination of this feature plus workflow feature, to fire off alerts that, new certificate has been issued, for example, that does not comply with a predetermined lifetime value, and then take remediation steps to to renew that certificate, revoke it, or change the parameters of that certificate, and then follow along with when it leaves the collection that it's back into policy. So some exciting things that we have with the platform and how to take advantage of this new feature along with features that we've built in previously. Risk intelligence has got a major uplift from the user experience point of view. We released risk intelligence in the middle of last year. To remind everybody what risk intelligence is, it's a new module for Command that goes through does two things. It has a source of certificate data from every public certificate, every certificate on the public internet, as well as every certificate in the certificate transparency logs. And with that, we can take a set of domains that are managed by your organization, bring that additional inventory into Command, and then run through the entire Command database and calculate a risk score for every certificate in the database using a set of heuristics and machine learning that we've developed over time. What's different about the 25.4 release is that this revamped risk. This used to be the validation tab. This is now a risk intelligence tab within the certificate itself, and shows the actual risk scores more natively within the user interface. Also, the ability with features that we released in 25.3 with creation of individualized dashboards and dashboard elements is that you can create based on the risk scores that are contained now in the platform themselves. You can create these the dashboard elements that you see across the top in a configurable way, and to use your own policies to determine what level of risk you want to set in those dashboards. And then I did talk about this, a little bit already, but improve visibility with the search tools. This works more easily in conjunction with everything that we have within Command already. And also then using you can bring risk scores and use that to create collections. And again, as I mentioned before, use the power of collections and the workflow events to take action based on new certificates that are coming in that are risky or out of policy, and then use the automated workflow and work engine to take action on those. Did want to spend a minute and talk about work that we're doing with agentic AI and AI in general. And kind of going to the next slide, there's three major things I'm going to talk about. One is MCP and an MCP server that we've done. Some other things that we've shown on how we can use existing Keyfactor technology to secure agentic AI and how you can get access to that in the AWS marketplace. And then a little bit of teaser on some of the things that we're doing for enabling additional use cases around EBCA signing, Signum, etc. So first thing is that talk about model context protocol. If you're not familiar with it, I would kind of urge you to do some research on it. It is probably one of the more impactful developments in computer science that's come out in recent years. Just to give you an idea of what it does is this was technology developed by Anthropic, and it can sit on top of any well-formulated API and then provide an interface to something like Claude or OpenAI that you can use to then start to do English queries to a backend API source like Command. And as a matter of fact, but the point is that, this is and when we built this MCP server, there was a little bit of formulation work that we had to do, but there wasn't this extensive model training that we had to do. And if you go through, we have a pilot version of this available in GitHub today. And I'll show you a quick demo of it in upcoming. But the real point of this is the power of this is that, not just Keyfactor itself has our own MCP server and pilot, but if you look at ServiceNow, if you look at Salesforce, a lot of companies out there have pilot MCP servers. It's a powerful tool, and I think you're gonna see more of it, not only from Keyfactor, but across the industry. So just give you a quick idea of what we put together, with an MCP server. It's the demo, just create your prompt. The first prompt that you'll see here is a simple English query: find me the riskiest search. You see, like, it goes through, creates the API calls, and then returns the certificates. Then you can tell it what to do. Go ahead and revoke them. And it goes through. It even shows you the exact API calls that it's doing in the background. And then you can, if you have PKI and command put together, you can actually issue new certificates and renew them and push them through the orchestration for the renewal process. Go to keyfactor.com, see a full demo of it if you're interested. It's something you can install if you're a command licensee. You can install it, separately from your command licensee and take a look at it yourself. But other things that we're looking at with agentic. Oh, sorry. Before I go on, so we look at, obviously we have a bit of bias around certificates and the power of certificates, but as far as high levels of workloads in the enterprise, certificates are a really good way to control those workloads. And agentic AI workloads are a form of non-human workloads. They're just going to be at a scale that's 1 to 2 to 3 orders of magnitudes higher than we're seeing today. But this is a quote from Gartner, also, who is looking at this problem and sees things in a similar light, that certificates are a very good way to use as a source of identity for these workload. And especially the agentic AI workloads as they scale out and become pervasive in enterprise environments. So, and then the next thing that we want to just take a look at is a demo environment that we have of, like, how can we take existing Keyfactor technology, especially with EGBCA, along with existing service mesh technology from Istio, create sample agentic AIs in these agent containers that have jobs. And these jobs can be go sign a piece of code or go create a row in a database table. And we can issue certificates through these workloads that allow or disallow, or more importantly, disallow these agents containers to do things or not be able to do things. So more to come on this. This is what's going to be shortly available in the AWS marketplace. Just to again, we're putting these things out there to allow you to get familiar with these technologies, and also to show the ability of the current products that we have to work with these environments. As I've talked to customers, we had a recent series of Connect events. Everybody that we met with is being asked to evaluate, look at, deploy agentic AI technology. So, if you want to learn more from us about how to secure these agents, we are more than happy to talk to you about how we can help with that today. And with that, I think that's my last slide.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. We're going to just pull up a quick poll question, and then we'll get to Q&A. So if you have more questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A or the chat. So we covered a lot today. So if you're interested in taking a deeper dive, learning more about a product that you're not currently using, please feel free to select anything you'd like to learn more about. You can select multiple products, and we will make sure to follow up with you after this webinar. Okay, I'm going to go over to Q&A. We have a lot that were answered live, but a few that are still outstanding here. So there's a question about Keyfactor's SCEP connector client and when will it meet 140-3 or will it need an update?
So I can answer that one. The SCEP connector, we are looking at what our options are for that and the updates coming for that. So we'll get back to the group on and probably by the next time that we have this meeting on the necessary updates for that.
Great. Okay. Next question around command. Can command certificates search filter by collection? So as an example, all certificates expiring on 11/13, not in collection XYZ.
Jacob, I'd have to get back to you on that one. I cannot remember off the top of my head if collection is an element in the regular expression builder.
Okay, we will make a note of that one and follow up. And then next one, does the risk intelligence address or highlight CT log entries that appear to be DV certificates for an organization that is using OV, EV, or QVADIS certificates?
Even without, I was just typing that one up. Yeah, even command natively, even without risk intelligence, can search for DV, OV, or EV certificates using the OIDs. We can help, if you want to submit a support ticket, we can help you build that regular expression. But then, yeah, I mean, we've actually then used the risk intelligence information to even enrich those queries as well. And yes, if the issuer is Quo Vadis or any issuer, you can use native command functionality to determine that in collections.
Great. I think those are all of our live questions. Just one that I saw a few of that maybe we can just clarify for the larger group is around the ServiceNow integration, just asking if it's an added-on service, if you need more licensing, or if you can access it with your current instance of command as a user today.
So no command licensing required. It is available in the ServiceNow store. There's three store elements. None of them require additional licensing from a ServiceNow point of view, but there may be some capability you have to have licensed from ServiceNow. Julien, keep me honest here. I don't believe that there are any ServiceNow requirements for the AgileSec app connector. Believe that's correct.
mostly the vulnerability response. So I think, as you said, there is many components in in ServiceNow, right? And we have some for us.
We have the ServiceNow the command application that Ryan mentioned does not require any ServiceNow licensing. The graph connector that Ryan also mentioned may require additional ServiceNow licensing. So.
Yeah, and you can find all that information on the ServiceNow announcement landing page. So we have links directly to the ServiceNow listings in the store for both the AgileSec and command integrations. And then we have a link to the documentation as well for the EJBCA integration.
Great. And we got one more question that came in. Question about, are we going to integrate command or EJBCA with other ITSM providers such as BMC Helix?
To be determined. ServiceNow is kind of the behemoth in the marketplace and was the most widely created, one of the most biggest feature requests that we had across the board.
Okay, great. I think those are all of our questions. So thank you all so much for all of the questions and the engagement, for spending this time with us. Thank you to our speakers. And this will wrap up our last product briefing of the year. So we will see you in 2026. Thank you.